Good evening, everybody. Back. I've been thinking over the week. We are now at the end of chapter 6 of this book, which is all the meat of it, really. All of the information and all of the practices. And it's taken us 5 months to do 6 chapters. So, and there's 2 chapters to go, and I'm pretty clear that that's going to take 3 months to do those. So I'm going to move this onto the same schedule that we do the workshops on. So we'll finish this chapter this week and come back next week to field questions or do any review or anything we want to do, and then we're going to take June off. And we'll start up again in July after Dulcie's Sarah retreat, since that's on Monday the 8th. Everything else is starting on the 8th and the 9th, and this would start on the 10th, but that's the Sarah retreat, so we'll start again on July 15th. And we'll do chapter 7 in July and August, and then we'll take September off, and then we'll do chapter 8, which is all the principles, and there's 30 of them, and we can just play with those as long as we want. We can do those during October and November and spend the rest of the year on the book. That way there's no rush and no push, and I think you guys need the rest as well as I do. So. And the other reason behind that is that we had 3 really good methods now that we've discussed in this last month or so about getting into the silence. And the most important thing you'll ever do is learn how to get into the silence. Because when you can get into the silence at will, then you can determine your own life. And you can manifest your own life. And until you can get into the silence, you can't. And we talked about learning the letter of truth and practicing the letter of truth, and we do that ongoing. And that's just a matter of listening to the Joel tapes and the Robert tapes and reading the books and stuff, and that goes on appropriately all the time. I do that still at least 2 or 3 hours a day. I'm into doing some of the latest stuff that means Joel tapes and Barbara tapes and stuff. But more importantly, there's meditation. There's Joel's style of meditation called contemplative meditation, in which you read a spiritual passage and then contemplate it, mull it over in your mind, and contemplate it and work with it until your mind gets silent. Okay, and that's the method that Joel used to get into the silence. And he says that it took him 8 months to do it. But by doing that process over and over, he got into the silence. So that's Joel's technique. We've also discussed and practiced self-inquiry for a couple of weeks, and that's Robert's practice, Robert's shortcut. Robert says that's the direct way into the silence, and that's exactly what it is. It's all about getting into the silence. And last week and this week, we practiced Barbara's favorite method of getting into the silence, which is called the awareness exercise, which is got to be the sweetest, shortest route to the silence I've ever seen. And any one of these, the game is to find which one appeals to you, your own personality type. You know, if you're, like there's different kinds of yoga, stuff like different styles appeal to different people at different times. Some people just can't do self-inquiry at all, and then all of a sudden they discover that it's the only thing they want to do. Other people can do it immediately. Other people don't have a yana yoga type mind and want to do something else, in which case the awareness exercise might really be the way to go. So find the one that appeals to you, and what I really want you to do is practice one of these methods daily until July 15th. And let's see about getting into the silence. And in fact, if you're smart, you'll practice it until July 11th, and then you'll take the Sarah retreat where we're going to have 3 days in the silence in the group. And you can see how you're doing. Because, I say again, the most important thing you'll ever do is find the silence and be able to get when you can get into the silence at will and stay there as long as you want to. Then you own it. Then you're you're in charge, then you have your own direct source, to your own direct connection to the source, then all your truth will unfold from within you, and you don't need to do any of this stuff except you need to overcome human consciousness, but then you no longer need a teacher, you no longer need any of that, you can do it yourself. Once you're in the silence, you're in the presence of God, and it starts bubbling up from within you. And that's where we all want to be. And anyway, so that's my plan. And that's what's happening. So there will be a class next week, and I'd love to have any questions on any of the things that are in Chapter 6, the obstacles, the practices being around higher consciousness, learning the letter of truth, practicing the letter of truth. What does it mean to practice the letter of truth? We're glad to review meditation. We're glad to handle questions on self-inquiry or hear how you're doing or daily difficulties. We're glad to listen to how you're doing on the awareness exercise and see if I can make suggestions. And the final little paragraph in there is by immersion, which we'll probably read tonight. And I will also be available to answer those same questions one-on-one personally all the way through June and July up to July 11th. At this point I'm going to Sarah and going into the silence. But until July 11th, during that time, practice. And if you're having difficulties, bring them to me. Call me. Come over and talk about it. Make an appointment. Let's work on it. Let's focus on this and see if we can get free. So, how are we doing on, anybody have any fun things to share or any good experience on the flashcard? The flashcard was, it doesn't need my thinking, which is a good thing since thinking is not involved in self-inquiry, and thinking is not involved in the awareness exercise, and thinking is not involved. Thinking is learning the letter of truth is to placate the thinker. And contemplative meditation, the initial stage of contemplative meditation is to placate the thinker. But thinking is not how you get there. Thinking, like we talked about last week, the mind is the wrong tool to recognize God. Mind is a great tool for figuring out riddles or solving crossword puzzles or remembering addresses or phone numbers, but the mind is the wrong tool for finding God. Although it does, through studying the letter of truth and that sort of thing, point us in the right direction. But we have to drop mind. So that's the flashcard. It doesn't need my thinking. We'll continue with that flashcard for the next, until July 15th as well. 17th. I want you to discover that nothing needs your thinking. I'm talking about finals in college. Don't need my thinking. I don't have to think about it. It's either in there when I'm sitting down taking a final in college. It's either in there or it's too late. It doesn't need my thinking. Nothing needs my thinking. So that's a flashcard. Anybody have something else?
Well, actually, I was wondering about that. As I was getting ready to take a test, I was thinking, do I really have to study for this? Because I actually already know all this. I just don't realize that I know it all. But what would happen if I just sat down? I mean, would it just be that I don't have enough awareness if the information didn't...
What would happen depends on where you are in consciousness.
Okay.
Robert shared to us that he used to... Robert had a funny thing that happened to him. Whenever he closed his eyes and said, God, 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 3 times, whatever he wanted would appear, and whatever he needed would happen. And he learned that as a very young boy. And so he never studied for exams. He never studied for high school exams. What he would do is he would go to the exam, open the quiz book, and say, God, 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 3 times, and start writing the answers. Without ever having read any of the books. And you're absolutely right. You do know all the answers. I mean, because there's only one, and you're that one, and that one is infinite knowledge, so you do know all the answers. So the question is whether or not you get in touch with it. But there's a danger. One day, when Robert was going to move up in front of him and was taking a math exam and closed his eyes and said, God, 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 he didn't get the answer. What happened was the light in the center of him started growing and growing and growing, and it went out like this, and it engulfed him and it engulfed the entire universe, and he dissolved into the universe, and his entire ego center was burned out, and his entire little I was burned out, and there was no more Robert. And he never came back. Watch out. He became spontaneously enlightened and calm to the universe. So,
in that
huh? In that test. We asked him that, so he said, how do you do on the test? And he said, I got nothing. He said, great, I got nothing. You know. No, it's lighting out of him, and just like, and the next thing you knew, the teacher was shaking him and saying, Robert, and everybody was gone, the room was empty, and his book was empty, and he really didn't care. There was nobody there to flunk the exam. So that was his experience. So watch out for God. Maybe you just want to go God. You know, maybe two will get you the answer. But yeah, the answer is, I often know Mary Pat a friend of mine used to, she found herself in a job with, in a banking job, and had no knowledge of finance, and stood fast on the knowledge that all the information she needed was immediately available to her, and walked through a job as I don't know what she was exactly in the bank, but $39, and did that job fine without ever having a college degree, let alone a degree in finance or anything. So, yes, it's there.
You know, there's surgeons who've done that, so let me know.
If you go deep enough, you don't need a surgeon.
They're not.
Huh?
They're not.
Yeah, they need to file
It doesn't need my thinking. You can spend the next month and a half trying to find something that does. I'm sure all sorts of things will present themselves to you as apparently needed. Yes.
Well, I was just thinking that my sales folks, when I show up, I mean, I've done whatever preparation, it's no more than opening the book. And all that I'm doing is going in to be helpful or to just be there, see who's behind the door. Good. And I don't have to worry about moving anybody there except
And actually, the stuff you think about, you don't really think about. If you need a phone number, you don't think about your phone number. It pops up. And if it doesn't pop up, it's not going to. I mean, you don't have, you're trying to remember somebody's number, you're trying, there's no mechanism for dragging something out of the data bank, it's going to pop up or not. Right? So-and-so's number, blah, 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 blah. No thought. Answer. And the difference with Robert is that he's aware that everything he says is spontaneous. And that's also my experience. I find out where the class is at by hearing what I say. I don't decide what I say based on my judgment of where the class is at. I discover where the class is at by listening to the words that come out of my mouth. And I don't write this shit. Didn't write that either. That's been my experience for quite a while. I walk with people and I have no idea where they're at or what's going on, and I listen to what I say. And I didn't know she was ready to hear that, that kind of thought's going on back here, I mean, I'm just listen to what I say. And so it doesn't require my thinking. Anybody practice that this week? Yeah.
I practice it and had lots of opportunities.
Lots of opportunities to not think?
Well, be thinking and to catch myself and say, didn't need my thinking. It seemed like my mind was really busy and I used it when, lots of places, but including when I was trying to meditate.
Yeah, that certainly doesn't need the thinking.
Right, and so I would try to, use it then along with the try to practice the awareness exercise as well. Those take a couple of days, and try to do it on my own, listening here and stuff. But just noticing lots of thoughts and noticing how I'll get started on something and it'll just, but I'm able to catch it. I'm able to catch it in the middle and okay, this seems my thinking.
Take it as unnecessary, yeah.
And it makes sense. I know it's not a logical thing, but it can help, like Dave was mentioning about work. I mean, the only, I'm going to tell too, the only thing that would cause any anxiety is thinking about it. Like if you're ready to call somebody, especially being sales, you can have that anxiety, but it's only because you're thinking that there's going to be some kind of, outcome. But if you don't think about it, and that's what I find with anything I just do without any thought explodes. So
Problems need my thinking. If I don't think, I can't have a problem. So I have to think in order to have a problem. The problems need thinking. Okay, you get that? It's not that when I have a problem I need to think about it. It's the fact that I'm thinking that has resulted in the problem. So problems need thinking. Yeah.
I don't know if this is way off course from what you're studying here, but in Abraham 6, they say to set your intention. For example, if someone calls you out of the blue, take a moment before you dive into the phone call and just be there. So how is that different from thinking?
Well, I haven't read Abraham enough to know what he means by setting an intent. I really...
It's all about manifesting. And I heard you say you can manifest your life.
I know what the word means. I mean, I know a little bit, but I don't know exactly how he means that.
But it's not thinking then. It must not.
I don't know. I never set an intent either.
If you don't actively manifest, when you manifest,
I get out of the way and let it manifest.
You let it manifest. That's no thought.
If I'm absolutely transparent, then what's manifested is perfection. See, at one level, I can be choosing between good thoughts and bad thoughts, and focusing on manifesting good thoughts. But at the next level, I really realize that good and bad are both unreal, and they're both just arbitrary positions based on where I'm sitting and what my definition of good and bad is. There's no reality to either good or bad. Good or bad is really boils down to agrees with me or disagrees with me. And far better is to get totally out of the way and let what is manifest itself. Because that's where harmony is. If I set intentions and manifest good, I may discover tomorrow that that's bad.
It's not your preference.
Or I may have made a mistake, or 100 things. In fact, somebody shared in the morning meeting, and I know Joel said it, I love this statement. If I always got everything I wanted, I would have missed all the miracles in my life. So in setting intentions, setting successful intentions is limiting. It's preferable to thinking about negative stuff. It's also preferable to letting human consciousness manifest your life for you.
One more question. You said at the beginning, if you can get to the quiet, then you can manifest. What did you mean by that?
Actually, when you're in the quiet, it manifests.
It manifests,
yeah, sure. When you're in the silence, there is no ego.
Okay. That was my understanding of what.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that requires thinking, by the way, is me. Little I. If I'm not thinking, there's no Lee, there's no little I. I have to think to sustain the illusion of a personal self. So let's go back to, anybody else want to share about this does not require my thinking?
I've been looking for a job, not looking for a job, I don't know. And so, I've been using it a lot for this opportunity. But then I hear this course saying, well, you should be thinking about, this is important.
Universal balance.
Yeah.
And they say nonsense immediately, I hope.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. The should is the dead giveaway. shouldn't, or ought to, or ought not, or supposed to, or not supposed to. You know it's human consciousness, universal parent, shaking his finger at you, and the response is liar, nonsense. That's not true. You should be doing exactly what you're doing. You should be exactly where you are.
So you shouldn't listen to human parents.
Right?
Especially when you are one.
It is not necessary to listen to the universal parent. Shouldn't do that. Okay. I like all this. Mind has this desiring state of desirelessness. So I used to say, how shall I stop my mind? With my mind? So you just sit back and consider that. And if not with your mind, what tool are you going to use to stop your mind? There's a good question. How shall I stop my mind? Obviously not with my mind, that's sustaining me on it. Sustaining it. How shall I stop my mind?
Can you at all stop it?
It can be stopped.
Doesn't it just stop?
Yeah. The answer is I can't stop my mind, but I can let it run out of gas by moving it. My mind, this endless repetition of thoughts, requires my reacting to it, to sustain it. If I stop reacting to it, if I stop responding to it, if I stop trying to stop it, then it quiets down, quiets down, quiets down. And actually what you do is you get to a place where it may be still thinking, but it's not you, and it's irrelevant. In the East they have you can get to a point where you can be sitting there perfectly at peace in the silence with the mind chattering, and which is totally irrelevant. And in the East they refer to that as the monkeys chattering in the trees. And I just love that phrase, There's a monkey, and you just can meditate right through it, and that's what my mind is like. It just chatters, it doesn't matter. I pay it no attention. It's not mine. It's just thoughts. So let's try the awareness exercise again, because I do want to get that through 3 stages. If we don't get through all 3 tonight, we'll do it again next week. I do want to have all 3 stages. So let's close our eyes and get quiet for a second and breathe. In once, then out. Repeat. And now I want you to be aware of your left big toe. Just be aware of your left big toe. You don't get to use any of your 5 physical senses. And you don't get to use your mind. I don't want an image, no visualizing. It's not a matter of visualizing, which would be a mental thing. It's a matter of awareness. Just be aware of your left big toe. How do we do? Everybody able to do that? Everybody do that? Problems?
I was so wanting to wiggle it so I know it's there. Still using one of the 5.
So long.
Right, my mind chattering.
Is that really it?
Right.
Okay, let's close our eyes again. Now, be aware of your right elbow. And now increase your awareness of your right elbow. Just increase the awareness of your right elbow. How about that? Were you able to do it? Did you actually increase it? Yes, no problems.
What does it mean to increase it?
Just give yourself the instruction, increase your awareness of your left elbow or right elbow, whichever one it was, and see if you don't become more aware of it. Were you able to do that? Try it again. Barbara, in the tape I was listening to this week, said another way of saying it is, instead of be aware, she said you could also say focus on your right elbow. But I think be aware is much better. I like that word much better because we are using the awareness that is the same awareness that when I say all there is consciousness, choiceless, effortless, pure awareness, that's the awareness we're using. So I like using, our personal knowledge, I like that word. But she also said another way to say it is instead of saying increase your awareness, now rest in that awareness. So let's try that and see what happens. Okay, so now be aware of your left ear. Okay, now rest in that awareness. Rest in the awareness of your left ear. How's that work? Anybody have more luck or less luck with that in increasing? It's a different word, but the fact is that the way we increase our awareness of our left ear is by relaxing into it, really. That's how it really happens. So it's by dropping everything else. So any of these is fine. You can say focus, or you can say be aware, and you can say now increase the awareness, which I prefer, but that's because that's the one that I didn't hear about this resting thing until this week, and I've been practicing this for a couple of years now. The question is everybody, do you know that you have an awareness faculty now? And do you know that it goes where you tell it to? And do you know that you can tell it to increase and it obeys you? Okay? And the game is play with the physical anatomy. You know you have an ear, you know you have a nose, you know you have an elbow, you know you got a toe. We know we have all those, and so we expect our awareness to find those, and we can use that to demonstrate that we have this faculty and that it works. It follows our directions, and when we say be aware of the knee, the ear stops being aware of it, that it goes where we direct it, and that we can increase it. We need to learn that we really have this faculty, okay?
So I actually experienced tingling.
That may happen.
In whatever.
Quite often, yeah, I do that too sometimes, or a fuzziness, or, you will have a sensation. It will feel, whatever's going on, for us to experience it, we have to have it relate to one of the five senses or thought for us to experience it, because we don't know how to experience anything, without the involvement in of our senses or our thoughts. So whatever awareness is, while you're wearing the body, it will get translated into one of those. But it's not like feeling my left ear. Some people might, left ear, or the right one. It may tingle, it may get fuzzy, it may get warm. But you will definitely know you're aware of it.
No, I think there's techniques for physical pain, wherever the pain is, to direct my awareness someplace else. That's not hurting. It's quite remarkable how well it works.
And what's really remarkable is if we get to the stage 3 and we can drop into the silence. The whole body goes away. All right, let's go to stage 2 now. Close your eyes again. And using this same awareness faculty, be aware of I. Big I. Don't go looking for that non-existent personal I that self-inquiry is getting rid of. Be aware of I am I. The I that I am. How do we do? Anybody have any trouble? How are we doing with that?
I'm just not that quick with it. With me, it takes a little time to relax out of whatever this is.
Okay.
So it takes me a few moments.
Anybody else? Yes.
I'm finding that I kind of drop into it within my mind, and the same thing with the first part, that my mind goes back again into thought, and then I guess just bring it back, but, it seems...
Yeah, well, that's the practice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'll be there, and then all of a sudden I'll be in the thought, but, how did that happen, and it's just...
Yeah, and that's the muscle building. And what you do is just go back to being aware of I. Don't get upset with yourself. Don't say, stop that. Don't try to. Just bring your attention back to I. Just come back to being I. Tell your mind, I'll get you later. I still love you. We'll use you later, but you're not the tool I'm using right now. Right now I'm using awareness. I'll use you in a few minutes when I want to figure out how I did. Okay? Treat your mind with love and care, and never despise. Relate to me? You want to grade yourself on the exercise. So tell us that's okay, honey. Just relax. We're not using you right now. We're using the awareness right now for this. I'll get back to you. What did you have?
How do you know if you're connected with the I? I'm sitting here and
Tell me what it feels like.
Nothing. Pretty much. I'm just trying to clear my mind. I mean, it's just I don't know.
Well, if you're trying to clear your mind, that's not it. Let me ask you, let's do it again.
Okay.
And when if you're successful in being aware of the I, notice where it is. Notice where the I that I am is. Okay? Notice that. Okay? And you can, if you want to, just quietly, it sometimes helps people when they're starting just to sort of breathe out and say, I. Silently to yourself, just say I, quietly, but make sure you be aware that it's the big I, not me. I. Okay? So now, be aware of I, the I that I am. Put down the mind. Be aware of the I that I am, that I have always been. Closer to breathing. Anybody have any luck?
When I make the transition, my breathing changes. When I make the transition, my breathing changes, it gets deeper and longer.
Did you have an awareness of I? And where is it?
I can't answer that really.
Tough question.
Yeah.
But what's your sense of it?
Behind. Behind that.
Okay, that's fine. Who else? Yeah.
I mean, I guess I know that's why I like coming here for meditation, because, like, you say, become aware of the eyes, or I'm aware of the eyes. You spend 10 minutes at home, and I'm not even able to get through loose thinking, you know? So I guess it's just being here with other people.
It helps being lifted. That's why we hang out with higher consciousnesses or with other consciousnesses working on the same path. It really helps. I mean, it's a lot easier to find your eye here than it is there. Initially.
It literally feels like a cord or a rod just like right through the center of me, you know. I just feel it just through the center of me.
Well. Yes.
When I have a feeling for myself, sometimes it takes me, you know, like I think that thunder, you know, it's like a wave, and it comes. It's not like it comes in because it's already there, but for me, it comes in to the center of me, but it comes out through my mouth. And sometimes when I, you know, meditation, I actually make a sound because it comes out that way, and then. It's like that. It's just like a rolling. And I can't stay in it for very long. You know?
Yeah.
It's just kind of floating in there. It's that powerful feeling is the eye.
I think I got it. I didn't know that that's what was happening, but this has happened before. I feel a shift happen where I feel like my body's kind of evaporating in the air.
Okay, now, the way that you will know that you are aware of the eye is you will know that it's not in your body. You will be adept at this second stage of the exercise when you're aware of the fact that your eye is not in your body. Okay? And Robert showed me one way of getting there. He said humans think that their eye is somehow locked up inside of their skull. And he says, just imagine your skull dissolving, which is what you were saying. Just imagine that your skull is dissolving and expanding, okay? So the thing is, if you can practice this until you're aware that eye is, for me now, my eye is omnipresent. I mean, and by that I don't mean that I know what's going on in China, but I do mean that I don't recognize any limits to me. It's all of this, that I no longer have a perimeter, okay? And I have a body that's inside that space that doesn't even have a perimeter. The interesting thing about this is if you work with this and experience it, you'll lose your fear of dying. Because that ain't you. And you're experiencing it. Now, knowing that ain't you doesn't do shit. But experiencing that this isn't Lee, or that Lee isn't me, is a better way of saying it. It's the fear of dying. You might still have the fear of painful death, but it's not the death part, it's the painful part. Okay? Yeah.
I use the experience of the physicality of the body. It's not that I'm searching for I. It's like Anne doesn't seem to be around.
But is there a presence?
There's something.
Yeah, yeah, there's a presence.
And it's heavy, and it's just moving.
Yeah. There is a presence. And see, the eye that we're talking about is the only eye there is. And it's the eye that is manifested as me and you and everybody, So, I mean, it's not my eye. It's the eye. Okay? So it is the presence. I mean, it's God manifested. They say that God manifesting as impersonal individual consciousness, okay? It's what's manifesting as all these individuals. happens to be the one I'm aware of, maybe my individual consciousness until I back out of that some more, but the fact is what I'm aware of is the impersonal individual consciousness, which is not Lee. Impersonal means not Lee, it means impersonal. And that impersonal consciousness is the same impersonal consciousness that you will find if you go up there and find your impersonal individual consciousness. It's the same I, okay? Yeah.
So when I look at my hand, I think that once I started meditating, the separation from mind happened pretty quickly. I realized I'm not my mind. I could kind of see the monkey chatter in the background started happening really quickly. But lately, with self-inquiry, I could look at my hand, and when I look at my hand, it's not the same as it used to be when I look at my hand. Same thing when I look at myself in the mirror. It's like there's something else looking at the thing that used to be looking at itself in the mirror.
Yep.
Very strange. There's one of Oprah's takes that really twisted my mind was he said, imagine you've never seen yourself in a mirror before, and then look at yourself in the mirror when you've never seen yourself, who you don't recognize. That image of my body now is so that's like.
And see, Robert was there all the time, because Robert, when we were talking about Parkinson's disease, he put his hand on me and says, "This is as much my body as this." For one of those hands was on me, and one time it was on him, or then he's looking at me and says, "This is no more my body than that is," and. So he was looking at himself like in the mirror all the time. That was just another body. And it is. It's just another effect. There's no subject. It's just another effect. One of the infinite number of effects in a perceptual universe. Just another thing that's being perceived in this perceptual universe. Another image in the perceptual universe.
And I think that's what is, the concept that I've been using to look at my body for so many years is changing. And
You thought it was you. And now you think it's a body. Liver swap, All right, let's do this one more time. Okay, now be aware of I. And now increase your awareness of I. Or rest in your awareness of I. Did it increase? Is the presence or the whatever it is? Did you become more aware of it? However you want to say that? Okay. Okay, that's good. That's a really good thing. Let's go ahead right now and take the third step, and then because that's the end of the exercise, and then we can spend whatever time we want. Okay, close your eyes again. Now be aware of the silence behind I, or that includes I, or that's beyond I. Be aware of the silence behind I. How do we do? Anybody successful? Did you find the silence? Yeah?
When I it's like my awareness stops when I get in silence. I'm not aware anymore. I can only tell that I'm in there basically when I tell us.
Perfect. Yeah. Anybody else get that? Can you feel the silence? Can you be aware of the silence?
The way that when I had a shift a while ago was that I am that I am. It's the I am of Abraham, it's the I am all the way up. And that when that silence, when it gets to that point, whatever it is, they're in it. I mean, I know that the body's here and all that stuff. That's there. But it's from here. And it's just, and that I am seems to, like you said, not have any borders, but it can touch more or be more.
And that's what I'm saying when I said there's just, I am that I am. Means that what that really means is that I that I thought was little I am that I am, the I. That certainly is the I am that we're realizing in the second stage. Now behind that, underlying that, and you have to find, behind isn't the right word because there's no behind in a primitive thing. But underlying it or behind it or containing it or Robert would use the word substratum. So substratum of that existence, of that I existence, is the silence, okay? And if you might want to be aware of the I, and then listen for the silence. You can hear it. And I'll give you the famous Dolce line, it's not the absence of sound, it's the absence of self. But you can recognize it. And it may be a silence to you, it may be a void to you. I don't know what Buddhists love the word void, and that's probably a better word than silence, actually. But you can experience it. And that's what we're going for. That's what we're reaching for. So let's try that again. Let's be aware. Let's be aware of I. Be aware of the I that I am. Now be aware of the silence behind it. Be aware of the void underlying it. Stratum of everything. The unmanifest. How do you do? Anybody have any luck? Yeah? 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 Fine.
Does it naturally feel a little bit fuzzy afterwards? Like I feel fuzzy right now.
Good. Yeah, you always were. You just didn't know it.
I kind of feel stoned sometimes.
Now, how do we know if we found the silence? And Barbara had Barbara said a long time ago that the way you know that you're in the silence is that I disappears. The I itself dissolves. And another thing that's true when you're in the silence is that I can't say that you know, but there is an awareness that nothing needs to be done about anything. Okay? Just the awareness that absolutely nothing needs to be done. So those two are sort of your litmus test for whether or not you're in the silence.
I don't understand. Nothing needs to be done about anything.
About anything, yes. When you're in the silence, you will experience the fact that absolutely nothing needs to be done.
So at that moment.
But the silence is always there. Yeah, I am saying that nothing needs to be done about anything ever.
So there are no choices that need to be made.
There are no choices that need to be made.
We all get to the point where we just want to go have some Kool-Aid. First time you said one of these, yeah.
That's certifiable, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really certifiable. I mean, they still use the test that whether or not I know the difference between right and wrong. And I think there are none. There is no such thing as either of them, so I'm certainly certifiable. Obviously, I have actually no business being on a jury. Right? Well, you learn everything else perfect.
He had a really powerful stretch.
One more time, okay? Once more. Okay. Get centered. Now be aware of I am. Increase your awareness of I am. Now be aware of the voice that underlies it, of the silence that underlies it, contains it, that engulfs it, surrounds it, infiltrates it. Increase your awareness of the silence. That's the whole awareness exercise. That's it. That's the whole thing. Now, the other thing for all of you script workshop workers and kid workshop workers, you keep saying you need to get more spiritual adulting gear. Now, increasing your awareness of the silence and getting more spiritual adulting gear are synonymous. Spiritual adult is defined as the amount of the presence of God that you're aware of. Okay? So how do we get more spiritual adult here? We increase our awareness of the silence. So this is the tool that supports the script and kid workshop as well as allowing you to manifest your entire harmonious future if there were anybody there to manifest. Okay?
And you can, if you go to the website that we help, that we put here, that 3minutesofsilence.org, the number 3, minutesofsilence.org, and you click on the Joe Goldsmith. What you get is Dulcie leading you awareness exercise.
I'm going to put the audio for this one up on Leelaa.org. I'll put a link on the front page for this whole class so that you can go there and click on this if you want to play with this over the next month and a half. I'll probably edit out a little bit of the nonsense, but we'll put up this full practice with it, a 40-minute exercise. I also have 45-minute tapes of Dulcie leading an awareness exercise in much more detail than the 5 or 10 minutes she did there, which you can have for $5. I'll be glad to make them for you.
Yeah.
She just charges $5. I mean, that's what it costs to manufacture it. Actually, it's going to cost you $6. It costs me $1 to manufacture it, and I give her $5. So we'll make this available to practice because Dulce's guided meditation is good, and this one, this last part here won't be out there, but up to the point where I said it, that's the entire exercise. We'll put that one up there tonight. And it'll be on one of the players like I have up there, so you can start it and stop it wherever you want to and move it along so you can go back over sessions and stuff so that you can practice it. Because the game is to work it until you can do it. And there's nobody here who can't do it. You may not be able to do it tonight, but there's nobody here who doesn't have the rhythmic skills to do this, And if we...
There's nobody.
You can't do it either, right? Thanks, Adele. But yeah, we're all perfectly capable of mastering this. And what's going to happen, I just thought, is that the class in July is going to be quite a bit different than the class here today. If you all practice being in silence between now and July 16th or 17th or whenever the first Monday is after Sarah, it will be a totally different group of people. So, that's it. And now I'm available for questions or whatever you want to do. We'll meet next week and we'll go over any of this. We'll go over the self-inquiry. We'll go over Joel's meditation practice. We'll go over practicing the letter of truth. Yeah.
I don't know what the time frame is, but is it possible to get those tapes next week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tell me. Anybody wants one, tell me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'll make 10 of them. 10, I'll make up 10.
And then the activities?
Tapes. Good tapes. I just take, she's got a tape there. It's on both sides, actually. It's really self-serving. You can play it down one side and then just play it again. You don't have to rewind it even. It's the same 45-minute class repeated on both sides. So it's useful. So you can do that. I'll put this one over there. I'll put this class up online, up on the front page. Just look for the awareness exercise for it. There'll be somewhere on the front page will say awareness exercise. Just click on that button and it'll take you to a player that will play this class. Because it's not a better tool than self-inquiry. For those that self-inquiry works, it works great. I mean, it is the short route and it aggressively eliminates the personal sense. But this is the more universally accessible shortcut to the silence that I'm aware of. It's certainly it's as quick as self-inquiry and it's more accessible to more people.
On the self-inquiry, I do it during the day, and then when I do meditate, I don't think about my toe or my ear. I just start, and it becomes more stuff opens up when I do the self-inquiry. It's like this is different because you do it while meditating.
But that's why you're learning how to do it.
Yeah.
The answer is that eventually self-inquiry leads to the point where you say to whom, and you're in silence.
Yeah.
And eventually the awareness exercise practice leads to the point where you just choose to be in the silence and you are. I don't do any of the 3 steps. I can be in silence whenever I want to be in silence. I be aware of silence. but I don't say any word. And it's always here. Anytime I look for it, there it is. Here it is, right now. There it is. It's always here. It's always here. Yeah.
But like what you said, the expression "be aware" on its own is pretty powerful for me. It's like whatever, be still, be aware. Like you said, you can have a dropping off of the end of whatever you're saying. That can get you there. And it's like when Robert says, just be. Just be. And it kind of quiets us down. I was listening to a Fictional Case, and he said that being requires no doing.
The difference, yeah.
It kind of removes a whole lot of thinking.
Yeah, if you always just stop being a human doing and become a human being, you'd be done. It's the fact that we call ourselves human beings, but we're human doings.
Just realized something.
Cool.
Doing that. You know what? That was that the kids are in the mind. That's where they reside, and there's no mind
And in the body.
Yeah. Well, only my mind can be aware of my body. My feeling is what told me I have pain or discomfort or something's wrong. And that the God is not in the mind. It's someplace else. And so the kids don't go anywhere. There's just no mind, but there's no kids.
That's right.
That's pretty wild, because that's a really, I don't think I felt it as strongly in that exercise. There's just like nothing there.
That's right.
Like, there's no behind, there's nothing. Really wild. I didn't get that the kids, they don't have to integrate because there's no kids, but there's no, that's pretty wild.
That's my experience.
Yeah. Whoa.
Sure. That's where it is. Now you are now aware that when I'm saying the awareness faculty that we're using is the awareness that is consciousness. That all there is, we say all there is consciousness. We can equally say all there is awareness. Okay? It's that awareness that we're using. I mean, this is a God tool. This is not a human tool, not a physiological tool or a mental tool. I mean, we've been using the physical senses and we've been using a mental tool, our intellect and such like, and the awareness faculty is a spiritual tool. In fact, it's the spiritual tool.
Maybe this is what we were meant to be using all along. Something happened in that mind.
Whatever meant to be.
Yeah,
used.
whatever, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is the way we want to be using, whether or not we were meant to be. Stay with it. Call me if you have questions during the week. I mean, let's hone in on this during this next week. And we'll come back next Monday night and we'll play with it some more or do whatever you want to do. Get quiet right now. Okay, thanks for coming. I love you all.